Hi there, everyone. Welcome to the $127 podcast. I wanted to make a quick announcement to you guys, really quick. We haven't done anything in a while. We've been really busy. Everyone's been doing their own thing. Ken's been working early in the morning. Alex has had classes, and he's been taking some trips. Adam's been working a lot. Anakin moved to Colorado, where he's in the process of moving. Dale's on his farm. Mule is MIA. And I've been working 2 jobs, having 3 classes going, and currently on another podcast right now, working all that stuff out. So sometimes we need a break from things. That doesn't mean that the podcast is dead. It's not second run reels yet. So we're just taking time to figure things out and let everybody do their own life things right now, and we're still going to be putting out more content. And as you've noticed, we haven't really done many shorts in the center of these podcasts. That's because of how little time we've been having these past few months. But we're going to try to get more content out. We're going to do those shorts more podcasts. More trailer reactions and some movie reviews, probably, depending on how that goes. So enjoy the show.
Right now without the floop, are you?
So the $127 podcast.
Ken.
Yule.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Alex.
And today, we're talking about ghosts.
Wake me up!
Wake me up inside!
I can't wake up!
Wake me up inside!
Save me!
Call my name and save me from the dark!
I have one that, I mean, it's always kind of freaked me out.
Post all your ghost stories on squarespace.com.
No.
Squarespace, where you can make the best website.
Listen to this on Spotify.
This video brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends.
This was I was probably like 5, I want to say, 5 or 6, and we lived in like this duplex. So I slept in the room with my mom, and Adam slept in the other room with his mom. And I hated scary movies. Like, I absolutely hated them. I was scared of everything. Literally, like the dark, I was scared of it. Don't leave me in a room in the dark. I fucking cry, dude.
Fight the dark.
And so I remember one time I woke up and I just couldn't go back to sleep. And my mom was like snoring and everything. So like, you know, I would just move a little bit, nudge her so she would stop snoring. I remember I was trying to go back to sleep. And then on the right side, so I'm on the left side of the bed, and I remember seeing this like really bright green like glow on the right side, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And it looked like it was coming from like under the bed. So like it was like someone put like a green light on the floor and was just shining it up. And I was like, what the hell is that? I'm like freaking out. And so I kind of like, I climb over my mom, and I'm just like looking, and I'm like, no, this light is really coming from under the bed. And I look under the bed, and I see those teeth things, the chattering ones.
It's Slimer from Ghostbusters.
No, it's just those things. I just remember seeing this thing, but it was like barely going. And just seeing, like, I was scared of everything. So just the fact that there's a green light and this teeth thing, I was like, it was as if I saw like something actually scary. And I was like, what the so I climbed over my mom, and like I just covered my face. And then like I just heard the chattering, and I was like, oh my fucking god, like what's going on? And I was just like, mom. And so then I just closed my eyes, and then my mom like, she like nudged me. She's like, what's wrong? And stuff. And like I like take off the blanket, and I'm like crying. And then I look, and like I can't even see my mom, like, because it's dark in the room. So I was expecting to see light, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, and I was like, Mom, there's something under the bed. And she was like, no, there isn't. And she looked, and there was nothing, dude. Literally nothing under the bed, as usual, and stuff. And like, till this day, like, I don't know what the fuck that was. Like, if I was half asleep, like I was on the borderline of like pretty much awake because like I remember it like vividly, like and, like when I have vivid dreams, like they go away really fast. Like I can't remember them like as the day goes on. But like this one, like this is like a hard like memory that's just been ingrained in my head. Like I just saw that. I don't know what it was to this day. And we never had a little chattering shit. We never had that stuff. It was just under my bed.
And that was like your first ghost experience?
That was like my first time like holy shit. But I don't know if I was just hallucinated shit because when I was in first grade and my mom would like make me go to bed at 8. She's like, get in bed by 8, you're going to bed. And she would be in the living room watching TV in this same duplex. And she had just made me watch the Chucky movies. She was trying to make me not scared of shit. And that did the opposite. And I remember just like laying in bed with the nightlight on and then just kind of like not wanting to look at the closet that was open. Because like she had a bunch of like dolls. They're like, just, but like plushy dolls. Just plushy dolls. So like nothing that looked like Chucky. Nothing at all. And then I remember just kind of like going like this and just glancing. Like that, doing a quick glance, and it was like his face just smiling, just submerged with all this like plushies, just like that, like and I'm just like, and I remember just getting up and fucking bolting, dude, to the fucking like living room. I'm like, Mom, no! And then she's like, what's wrong? And I was like, there's Chucky, and then she's like, oh my god! And so she went in the room with me. And she's like, there's nothing here, and she's like, sit. And I'm like, no! So she stayed there and read me Cat in the Hat or some kind of Dr. Seuss book. Yeah, and then like and she stayed there. She knew I wasn't gonna go to bed. So like I said, like it takes very little to push my imagination and get my gears going, and then I maybe start fabricating stuff. So that Chucky one, I feel like like I did a quick glance and saw his face. I'm pretty sure it was just an imprint in my head. But that green shit and the teeth chattering that came out of nowhere. So that I don't know where that happened. That was my ghostly encounter.
Yule, what was your first experience ever with a ghost?
Believe it or not, my house.
Really?
Because growing up in Texas, especially in the Bible Belt, there's no belief of ghosts whatsoever, and
Except the Holy Ghost.
What was it?
Except the Holy Ghost.
Yeah, except the Holy Ghost. And knowing myself, I'm not gonna go looking for any type of shit like that. So when I moved here, and I learned like the mentality around ghosts and stuff, it didn't really broaden my horizons to be like, oh yeah, ghosts are real. I was still in denial because like I met one chick. I was working at the ramen shop. She's like, yeah, everywhere's haunted around here, and I'm like, alright, that's funny, but whatever. But yeah, the night house. That was my first experience, and that shaped everything that I kind of believe in now. I'm not saying I believe in them, but I think they're real enough to where I don't want to fuck with them. Hint.
Nah, you're going to the cemetery. We hit the light goal. Sorry. I just want to take you ghost hunting again. I had fun at the night house.
I'll get you coffee, dude.
Yeah, we'll drop you off at Starbucks on the way home. It's okay. It's a win-win.
Okay, that'll make me feel better.
We can get some hot chocolate, you.
Hey.
Some hot ass, too.
But yeah, night house. So, I don't know why. What were we doing, Jeff? But it was you, me, and we were supposed to go on some fucking hike. What, we can't put name in the podcast?
Oh, I mean, sure, I guess. No, Alex said we were fornicating, and that was not the case.
Oh, shit, no.
Um,
There was no yin-yang tag team.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not talking about Chocolate Viking, dude.
Well, now you have to bleep out her name.
Okay, yeah.
Chocolate Viking incident. 30 likes and we'll tell you the Chocolate Viking.
Okay.
I don't know why, but we were going somewhere to go hiking, and we passed that house, and you guys decided to go by.
No, we went explicitly to the night house. I was talking about it when we were at Busy Bee. No, we were talking about it while at Busy Bee, remember?
I do
When we were
remember
being racially profiled.
Ventura's racist, everybody. Kentucky, it's real.
Kentucky's real.
The deep state.
The deep state. The globalists, they're getting to Kentucky.
But yeah, so we went to the night house. I thought we were going hiking. And we're walking around. We went to the basement. You were the first one to do it. I wasn't going down there. I think I eventually did when Brooke did, though. So we went to the basement. We walked around. And when we got to the second story, that's when shit got creepy for me. Because again, like, I just felt very unease. And so the way that the night house is set up, it's like there's this staircase. You make a right, and then it's like a hard left. So it's like a blind corner to the left. So I made the left, and in this giant ass graffiti, it says, there watching you. It was like this big red demonic like creature that's been spray painted on the wall. And at that same moment, the door to my right slammed shut. I jumped like 6 foot vertical. Like I could have jumped over Brooke and then like booked it out of the house. I did, but I just freaked the fuck out at that point. So at that point, like I'm kind of convinced like some shit's going down here, and like I wanted to get the fuck out. Jeff, of course, ghost expert, is like, no, it's just a fucking wind. So he kicks the door in, and he's like, see, you see that draft? Because you pointed at the window from across the room, and you closed the door again. And so after that, we all walked down to the first story. So it's like a weird loop where like you go through the kitchen, you go up the stairs, you make that hard left, and there's another set of stairs. You get to the kitchen. We're all in the kitchen. Every last one of us is in the kitchen. Nobody else is in this house. No, God, there's nobody else in this house. So Brooke, Jeff, and I are just standing around talking about the house, and we hear that same door open again, slam shut, and then slowly open again. And like at that point, I was kind of reassured. I'm like, it's just the wind, it's all cool. But I hear fucking dragging. I hear footsteps and like this, like somebody's dragging a bag or some shit. And then the door slams shut again. And at that point, I'm like, I don't give a fuck about any of you. I'm about to leave. Like I was done. That was my first and only ghost experience so far. And yeah, like I said, shaped my perception. Not a true believer yet, but at the same time, I know there's something. There's got to be some shit out there. That was the thought for me. Plus, you got to keep in mind, I think it was like the second year I've been living in California, I think. So,
Yeah.
Little Texas boy from the South was like, I'm out of my element.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy because when that happened too, like when I opened the door and I told him it's just the draft, like the door slammed again, and then when you heard the dragging, we had just seen inside the room and the room was completely empty. There was nothing on the floor, and it sounded like someone was dragging something big and heavy, across the floor, and I was like, yeah, that one I can't explain. And then when I looked it up later, it turns out that the guy who owned the Nye house, he was murdered in that room. So.
Oh, it was that room?
It was that room. That was that had the door slamming.
And I took a picture of that house with this camera that I'm shooting with right now, and like I had to delete that photo. It made me so fucking uneasy every time I looked at it. I had to get rid of it. But I took a picture of the front of the house. That shit looks that house freaks me the fuck out, man. I ain't going back. I don't care how many likes we get. You get a million. Actually, a million likes I might do it.
Well, we can't go back to that house anyways because it's owned by people now. Someone bought it for like $7 million.
7 mil, yeah.
Yeah, it was like $7 million, and then they started renovating it, but they only renovated it for like 2 months, and then they stopped. And like all the construction equipment has been there for like 2 years now.
Really?
Yeah, it's like really weird.
That's strange.
What about you, Ken? What was your first experience?
Oh God, there it is. I hate this house.
My first experience with the ghost was when I was probably around like 10 or 11 or 12, and I was going out to I was taking the trash out, and I would have to walk down these 2 flights of stairs to go throw it out, and our neighbor had recently died, and then there were these garage doors that were underneath the house, and when I walked past them, they blew open, and it scared the living shit out of me, and I like ran upstairs back into my house. That's like the earliest memory. That, and I can remember a guy looking through my window, but I don't.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't remember if it was like an actual guy, or if it was like a face, like a ghost. You know, because it was there and then it wasn't. So it was like really fast. I'm just like, what the fuck? And then another time was when I was in, I think it was Toys R Us in Ventura, and I was in like the baby section,
Oh.
And you know those magnet letters?
Wait, the Toys R Us off of Johnson?
Yeah,
The only Toys R Us, yo.
yeah. I was there at that one, and you know those magnet baby letters? Well, they fell off.
Okay.
And they spelled out the word abortion. I was just like, whoa, what is this?
All
This
right.
is so weird.
Okay.
You know, I was like 7 at the time, didn't know what it meant, but...
I was wondering when you were gonna deviate.
I had to think of a good story.
I was like, Toys R Us. So like, you were just being followed by a pedophile, bro. It was jacking outside your window.
Yeah. Oh god.
Blindfolded and bucking? You think that's going on the internet?
Dude.
Crazy.
The images I have in my head are just
Yeah, man.
You're welcome.
whack.
The white winner.
The chocolate Vikings. That's stupid.
Yeah, man. Those are pretty paranormal events that happen in my life.
There's a reason they call it the Wendigo in the snow. Okay, really quick, I want to cut in here and explain this next bit. So sometimes on the weekends when we record our podcast, we record 2, maybe 3 episodes just so we have an extra episode on the off chance that we don't do anything on the weekend. And the previous episode before Ghost episode part 1 and the anime episode was the state of video games and the Pokemon episode. So we recorded 2 episodes in one weekend, and then we didn't record on this weekend. And then the third weekend, we recorded the anime and Ghost Stories Part 1 and 2, the one that you're watching right now. So after we had recorded the Pokemon and State of Video Games 1, my next door neighbors had moved out. I think like the day or 2 days after that. And for about 2 weeks now, the apartment next door had been empty. So when we started recording, this is the reason why the ghost topic came up is because of the activity that had been going on in this apartment and the next door neighbor's apartment. So that's why we were talking about ghosts. So you're going to hear something that has to do with the next door neighbors in this next little segment here. Yeah, here it is.
Alright.
Yeah, you used her as a sled going on the back. Oh shit, okay, hey. You hear that?
Yeah.
That was her.
No so much?
Really?
Yeah.
There's nobody over there.
Yeah, that's the faucet from the other apartment. Oh shit!
Yeah, I'm out.
Don't say anything.
No, did you guys hear that on the thing?
I didn't get to hear it. No, what is it?
It was a
So
faucet.
the
Tell
ne-
Marco.
Yeah, the next door neighbor's apartment is empty. And back when I moved in here, we were having some activity in here. Some lady was walking around our apartment, like stomping around and shit. She was going through all my dishes. And I saw her one night too. I woke up and I saw her standing in my doorway. This old lady with like really long hair and stuff. And she had all this like raggedy clothing on. And I called her the Swamp Witch because she kind of looked like one of those old haggard witches. And eventually, after like 3 weeks of living here, I got tired of it. I came out here and I said, look, if you want to stomp around my apartment and clank my dishes around, you could start paying rent and you can leave it on the table. And I'm like, you can either leave or you can start paying rent. And then after that point, like she was walking around the next door neighbors, opening their cupboards, flushing their toilet and turning on the shower. And Like, yeah, no, seriously, like, I'm not joking. And all the activity moved to the next door neighbor's place. So these people just moved out, and that started happening again, where we could hear her walking around and stuff and turning the faucets on and stuff. So, like...
And the faucet just went off.
Yeah, the faucet just turned on and turned off
Wait,
in the
if
other
you saw her in the
apartment.
doorway, you're like, rent's a hand job. And then you just started randomly getting hand jobs.
Why would I do that? But yeah, seriously though, if you guys want to, like, we could just walk out this door and look in the window right there. Because the windows are open, the blinds are open and everything. There's no one in there.
I'll pass.
Feel free, I'm not over there.
But yeah, she just turned on the faucet just now. Anywho, my first ghost experience. I was like 5, and I was at my grandparents' house, and my grandparents' house was hella haunted, but I didn't really know about all that stuff. I didn't really understand the concept of ghosts. I don't even think I knew what ghosts were at the time. And I remember I was playing in the guest room, and I was on the floor, I was playing with the toys and stuff, and I look up, and in the doorway, there was this guy standing there. But he was like a shadow person. And like he was all gray, going all the way up, and you couldn't see any features on his clothes or on his face or whatever. But it looked like he was wearing a hooded jacket, because it just kind of went down and into his form or whatever. And he walked from the doorway into the room, and then like kind of U-turned and went into the closet that was next to the door. And then I remember getting up because my mom had just come to pick me up, and I ran to my mom and I said, like, Mom, there was a black man in my room. And she was like, that's not very nice. Like, we don't say that, you know. She's like, that's you know. So that was that. And that was my first experience. And
That's not nice. We don't say that.
yeah. And
It was Bernie
your
Mac.
mom's response.
it was Bernie Mac.
It was Bernie Mac.
Oh my god. Yeah, so like whenever I would stay the night there and stuff too, like I would hear someone going through the kitchen and like moving the dishes around and stuff. And I always thought it was one of my uncles, but I guess no one was ever out there. And yeah, that never happened. So like my uncles would tell me, yeah, there's some lady who always goes through the kitchen and stuff like that. And then there was a lot of stuff that happened at my grandparents' house. There was a ghost that would like mess with one of my uncles, like they would shake his bed. And then there was another one who would like ask my other uncle like where her mom was or something. It was like really weird.
I hated the hallway to your grandparents' old house.
It was creepy.
I
And
hated it.
there was another thing, last story but my grandparents, when they went to Mexico in the 70s and stuff, that was around the time where you could still buy like artifacts and stuff. So they had bought a bunch of stuff from like one of the pyramids. And there was this flute, like an Aztec flute, and it was the flute was a man holding a flute, and the little buttons were on the flute of the man, but you blow into the top of his like feather hat or whatever. It's pretty crazy looking. So they would have a lot of activity and stuff like that, and I guess when they were moving out, like they had attributed some of the things that were happening to this item, this flute thing. And they left all that stuff in storage, but my grandpa's kind of a hoarder. So in their new place, okay, he is. But in the new place, he had brought back those flutes without anybody knowing. Like he just brought them back, and I remember my uncle was telling me that at night he heard this guy running around outside, banging on the walls, and he could hear people playing flutes outside, all around that the little trailer as people were running around.
That was Michael's story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my uncle went to my grandpa and said, "Did you bring back the flutes?" And he said, "Yeah, they're out in the shed." So my uncle went to the shed, grabbed the flutes, and took them back to storage, and they didn't have that problem again. But that was something that would happen inside the house. They would hear the flutes, and that was the guy who was going through the kitchen and whatnot. And because they were on display in the living room. So
But
since
this time the flutes were outside.
they were outside, that's why he was running around the house playing the flutes. So right now that stuff is in my grandparents' storage unit.
Damn.
But they attributed most of the hauntings that were in
And
the
I
original
feel bad
house
for those people going to get their shit from storage.
to that
People
flute.
fluting around.
Yeah. But I mean, there was a lot of other stuff too because the flood had gone through there from like 1911, when the dam broke. My dad, when he was a kid, he talked like there was a ghost that would come to him and stuff like that, and that one was whack because this kid would appear to him in the rain, and he would always ask my dad to go out there and help him find the key to his house. And he would always tell my grandparents, he's like, I need to go outside and help this kid find his key. He can't get into his house. And my grandparents were always like, no, there's no one there. You're going to get sick, all this stuff. So eventually, after so many times asking, they finally let him out. My dad followed this kid to the trees. And the kid said, my key is in there. And my dad reaches into the tree and he pulls out this big fucking key. And he says, cool, thank you. Now I can go back to my house and warn my sister. And so my dad runs back inside to my grandparents, and my grandparents are like baffled because there's this key that this weird kid that's not there is telling my dad about. And so they're just like, they send my dad to his room. They're like, just go to bed. They leave the key on the table, and then the next morning it's not there. And my dad never saw the kid again, but he only appeared during the rain. So my dad thinks that it was a kid that died during the flood.
Unfinished business.
Yeah. And he was trying to get into his house, but he lost his key. So.
Jesus.
Okay, on that note,
That one was fun.
we have a lot.
Fluting and bucking.
A lot.
Fluting and bucking.
Skiing, bucking.
Skiing.
Blindfolded and bucket.
We are. We have a lot.
Is a bucket.
We have a lot more ghost stories, me especially, but we are out of time. Thanks. Oh, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that shit. I don't know.
Your battery's about to die.
That's fine. Huh?
I don't think you said Reddit.
We don't
Reddit?
have a Reddit.
We don't have one anymore?
No, I just post our stuff
Oh.
on my account, so my account's getting banned.
Oh. Stalk Alex on Reddit. Don't ban our stuff. Twitter. Whatever. You guys know, right? It's in the description or something. I don't know. Okay, bye.